episode of Joe Mogul. And new Joe Mogul videos are available every Wednesday morning. So brighten up your life and tickle your smarts. Hit the subscribe button below and I will be sure to keep you on your toes.
Financial freedom, the stock market, and Isaac Newton, Sir Isaac Newton. So a lot of people use or hope to use the stock market as a tool to create financial freedom. And I would like to share my personal story, and I think if you would listen, there is a very valuable lesson that each of us can learn from that. So a few years ago, for the first time in my life, I decided to join the stock market and to buy cannabis stocks. It was just before the legalization of cannabis in Canada. I read about it. It seems very promising. The sector, the numbers, the sector looks as if it's going to boom. More and more studies revealing the benefits of cannabis got out, and I thought it's a good chance for me to join and to enjoy the prosperity of this new sector. And I did some research. I picked two Canadian licensed producers, one called Afria and the other one called Contrast. Afria seems a very promising company with a nice foundation of worldwide distribution. Germany, they cut a deal with every province in Canada. Contrast was a little bit smaller, but also a very promising company. They were known for their quality. They got some awards, the best flavor, the best taste, the best cannabis. They have a very good network of physicians that subscribe it to medical patients, and that number just grow and grow. And all the experts claim that those both companies are still undervalued and has a very bright future ahead of them. And I felt very good about them. I bought a considerable amount of shares, and the beginning was very promising indeed. They did very well, and I felt almost like I know what I was doing. And then, after a few months, it started with Afria. After a few months, both shares collapsed. Went down is an underestimate. Went down really, really bad. The first one was a short seller report that came out that claimed that Afria made some acquisition, some asset that they bought in Latin America, that they overpaid for that. It was nothing. The company is a garbage and it may not survive, and all those like bad reviews and dramatic kind of overstating how bad those deals were. And within days, the fear and the panic went all over like fire, and the share price goes so deep down. It was scary. From something like $20-something a share, it went down to 5 or 4. And it turns out that most of the report was false. Those guys, the short seller, did their money, did their millions. There was some truth to that. Apparently the CEO was corrupt and bought some of the assets from his friends and his own companies. But regardless, the damage was done. He was removed. And few months later, Contrast, the brilliant management of Contrast, found that they are actually growing cannabis in illegal rooms, trying to deceive Health Canada, trying to hide it from Health Canada. They started an investigation. They took their license away. They delisted from the from the Toronto Stock Exchange, and boom, from $9-10 a share to, I think in the minimum it was like 17 cents or something crazy like that. And the future of this company if they will even survive was very, very questionable. And here I am, looking at those scary numbers and thinking to myself, what should I do? Should I save the little that left? Should I try to hope that they will recover? I was really confused. I didn't know what to do. And I'm by no means a sophisticated or clever investor. Quite the opposite. I literally know nothing. I am the average retail investor who got the bad news last, who never knows more than the average person. So I have no advantage in that jungle. But then I made two valuable decisions that turned out to be gold. The first one, I said, I'm not gonna panic. If I lost that money, I lost that money. I'm not gonna panic and I'm not gonna sell. And the second one was, I'm not gonna even look at those scary numbers every day, see how low they dropped. I'm just gonna ignore it, and if they will recover, that will be a nice surprise for me. I'm just gonna forget about it. I'm not gonna look. I'm just gonna forget about it and hope that the fundamentals, that the good fundamentals that I saw in the beginning will, in the end of the day, win. A year and a half passed, and just 2 weeks ago, I sold my Afria shares in a very nice profit after they recover. Contrast is still struggling, but they got their license back, and they seems to be in a process of recovery. And the only thing that made me successful was the decision not to panic. And the second one, I had the time. I was patient enough to say, I have the time, I'm willing to wait. And we always have that desire and that hope that if we will read enough and if we will listen to the right experts, we will know when the next share or the next collapse of the market is going to happen. And this is an illusion. And why this is an illusion? Listen to that story. Isaac Newton, Sir Isaac Newton, nobody can blame him for not knowing to read numbers or analyze what he see in a scientific, empirical way. A smart guy. When he was over 70, he decided to buy a stock of a company, shares of a company called the South Sea, and he was actually one of the first who bought that share in 1711, and it went very well. Gradually the stock price goes up. He was at the time a wealthy and established person, and then in 1720 that same stock became a hit, become like really the thing that everybody was talking about, very desirable, and he decided to buy some more. He bought some more, and within 2 months the value doubled. And he did the very smart move. He said, enough is enough, I got what I want, and sold his shares. But the story doesn't end here, because few months later the stock kept going up and up and up and up, and Sir Isaac Newton looked and said, well, I sold too early, I got to join back the party. And he bought back a nice amount of shares. Now twice the double he sold. A very disastrous financial decision, because few months later that whole bubble of that company collapsed, and he lost an amount that people say now equivalent to like $4 million. And he then said something very funny. He said, I can calculate the movements of the heavenly bodies, but not the madness of the people. And you may think that this is like a lame excuse, but if you think about it, it has a lot of truth. The stock market is a chaotic, irrational, unpredictable jungle. And even if you Sir Isaac Newton, you have no way to know, because this is a herd mentality and this is not something anyone can predict or know. So what is the lesson? If you're asking me, there are only two things that help us protect our valuable asset. And this is not listening to experts or not reading articles and all that. One, diversify your investments. So if one thing happens that you have no control on, you still have something else. And the other thing is that whatever you invest, if you can afford, if you can have the time to be patient and not to be forced to sell, you are in a much better position to succeed in the long run. And again, I'm not saying that because I'm a smart or sophisticated investor. Quite the opposite. I'm saying that because I'm not, and I had my hard lesson. But those two valuable points, I think, proven to be very important. So if the stock market is a part of your toolbox to gain financial freedom, remember that lesson from the beaches of Belize. Adios.
If you enjoyed the video you just saw, hit the subscribe button below. Even if you think the video you just saw is a complete garbage, hit the subscribe button below. Because who knows, maybe next week it's gonna be much better. I would love to hear your feedback. And I would love to know if you have any ideas for future topics you want me to discuss. Let me know. And don't forget to check the Joe Mogul website, because Joe Mogul website has videos that may put a smile on your face, maybe provoke a new idea in your head, and maybe inspire you to work towards your financial freedom. Because remember, every big dream starts with a small step, and that small step can start with a little tip on the Joe Mogul video on Wednesday morning. Ah! Yeah. Look at this beauty. Ooh!